Let's get to the first audio message that was submitted by Neil.
I would like to see Tesla stop sandbagging on hardware 3 because it certainly has the capabilities.
You know, the level of transparency in what you're describing would actually be very, very beneficial.
13.2.2 had troubles in hurry mode, but otherwise was good. 13.2.7 was great in all modes.
We got this Mercedes SUV trying to cut us off. Let's see what FSD does.
I'll just be patient. I'll either use the system or not. But what I really want to see...
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Barry. I'm in a Tesla Model 3 2024 Highland Edition right now. I focus on Tesla's full self-driving software and capabilities. So we're out for a drive right now. I'm running version 13.2.8. Again, if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a current subscriber, thank you for your continuous support. I'm going to go ahead and press and hold this blue button right here to engage Tesla's full self-driving software. And from here, the vehicle is going to drive itself for the remainder of the route. Hopefully, we don't have to intervene at all. A little bit of a hesitation there to get out of this parking lot here. We'll see how it gets out. We're going to be traveling down to the stop sign and making a left here. We've got a few stops programmed into today's route as well. In addition to that, I launched a new functionality on the channel in my last video, in my last couple of videos, which basically allows you guys to leave me audio messages. And I've got a few of you guys that had submitted some messages to me. So what I'll be doing in today's video is highlighting those and featuring them in today's video. So again, for those of you that submitted messages, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's actually great to collaborate with you guys in this type of forum. In addition to YouTube comments, I thought it would be a cool way to kind of grow the community further and collaborate with you guys on another level, which is that you can leave me audio messages. So for those of you that submitted, thank you. I will be featuring it into today's video. And if you want to leave me a audio message to be featured in my next video, I'll have the link down below. It's speakpipe.com/DET. Totally free. You don't need an account. You could stay anonymous. And again, for those of you that submitted, thanks. We'll be covering those responses today, and then I will be responding to those as well. We're currently in the standard profile right now, and we are going to be traveling about a mile down the road here, and then we'll be making a left to our first stop. Got about 3 or 4 stops programmed in. So with all that being said, let's get to the first audio message that was submitted by Neil. So Neil, thank you for submitting this voicemail.
Hello, I think FSD is already on a good track. From what we've seen from the publicly released roadmaps that haven't recently been updated, they're already going to capture a lot of the things that I can think of over a midterm. In the short term, I'll just be patient. I'll either use the system or not, or intervene as I need to. But what I really want to see is the stats across the fleet. How is hardware 3 doing on 12.6.4? How is hardware 4 doing on 13.2.8? And I wish they would release these things now, not wait until they're having to do regulatory applications. I think it would help us understand how safe the system is, where it might be unsafe, under what weather conditions. I think that would help us as infrequent users and frequent users to understand our system better. It would let us know whether or not we need to wait for a new version, not upgrade, things like that. That's what I want.
Yeah, Neil, again, thanks for submitting that response, and thank you for taking the time to submit that message. I really appreciate it. You bring up really interesting points. I've thought about this myself as well, and it would be really cool to see that type of, let's call it a heat map, right, of maybe disengagements across their fleet, like you said, right? How is hardware 3 doing compared to hardware 4? Somewhere in a dashboard of some sort that's publicly available for customers to consume and analyze and process, so that, you know, customers can make their own decision on whether or not they want to use FSD on a certain update, not use it, understand where your disengagements are, what's causing the disengagement. Is it software related, or is it really more so user error? So the level of transparency in what you're describing would actually be very, very beneficial for, I think, both the Tesla AI team as well as customers. Now, of course, there's that level of, acknowledgement on internal teams and what internal companies want customers to see and what they don't want to see. but I think there's a really good balance between allowing the data to be public in terms of just hardware 3 to hardware 4, like you said, also version updates. Are we trending upwards on disengagement numbers, or are we trending downward on disengagement numbers between software updates? The data would be really interesting to see. The thing I think would be challenging for Tesla to report on in an official forum would be, what's causing those disengagements? Is it of the software? Is it the fault of the software, or is it the fault of the user? And which one's higher? And how do you track that? Right? That would be actually an interesting data point to see what's causing the disengagement. Is it software related or is it user related? And then in both of those points, you need thresholds to understand what meets or breaches that parameter, right? If it's software related, it's pretty obvious where if it's going on a red light, for example, that software related issue, disengage, right? You track that as a software related problem. User error, I don't know, maybe, somebody's on their phone, or somebody thinks that the car is going to make a wrong decision, so they preemptively disengage, which I know for myself, I don't know about you guys watching, let me know down in the comments, but sometimes I do have a knee-jerk reaction to FSD, and I just disengage it because I'm not sure what it's going to do. And I've seen it, I've gotten really close to disengaging in the past, and I've let it make its decision, and it was fine. But I got really close to disengaging because I got nervous. I think that's just a natural reaction that a driver would do. So yeah, you got a couple different, thresholds and parameters that you want to report on. So I think that would be a really interesting dashboard to see. Wow, not sure what that car was doing, but FSD actually responded very well. It looked like that Ford SUV wanted to drive out of that stop sign, even though we didn't have a stop sign going down this way. But FSD slowed down nicely for it, so that was nice to see. I'm going to go ahead and remove this stop, click done, and then it's going to route us to the second stop. But again, Neil, thanks again for submitting that voice message. I mean, you bring really good points. It would be awesome to see that type of dashboard. So maybe that's something we'll see in the future. Let's go on to Vance. Vance, thank you for submitting this voice message.
My car be changing lanes. I'm on the expressway. I want to be in the left lane. What's it going in the right lane for at this time? All right, why is it going in the left lane? We're turning right up there. Sometimes we need to just stay in the same lane instead of trying to play racy, or, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes racy cool, but minimum lane change was really cool when FSD supervised was working. But yeah, I would really like that to change. A way I could turn it, the lane changing off. That'd be cool. Instead of being embarrassed and putting on a turn signal and I have to cancel it. It's uncomfortable. Alright, thanks for the video. Good job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Vance. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you taking the time to leave the message. Yeah, lane changes is definitely something I get consistently in the comments from my viewers in terms of using FSD. And it's interesting because, I mean, I don't really have that problem personally. I don't know if it's just the area that I'm in, or maybe it's the profile. I mean, I'm usually in standard, though I've been favoring hurry mode these last couple of weeks because it's been great for me. But I haven't, oh, we got a Cybertruck here on our left side. Nice. But I haven't really had that problem with too many different lane changes. In hurry mode, I do notice an increase of lane changes for sure. But I'm curious, let me know down below for the others watching the video here, what are your thoughts on frequent lane changes? Again, I know it's a common issue because I hear and read a lot of comments that you guys are leaving me. And you know, it seems like a pretty common problem, and I can see that being pretty annoying, right? If you're changing lanes unnecessarily, it is not only dangerous, but also inconvenient for you and probably other drivers around you. So I don't know if it's just the area that I'm in, but I don't have to deal with that problem as much. I'll keep an eye on it. It's not something that comes to mind as a reoccurring issue for me. But again, I think that's why I like to incorporate your perspectives via this kind of functionality with the audio messages here, because it brings different perspectives. My area is not the same as your area. Your area is not the same as somebody else watching this video, so it's all extremely, extremely different, just naturally, right? Roads, streets, designs, and state by state, different infrastructure. So, yeah, again, Vance, thank you for leaving that message. I really appreciate it. So we're cruising down here. We'll get to the other two messages here in just a second. We're cruising down a smaller suburban city with a little bit of traffic here. We're showing about 1 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. So traffic is medium level, I would say. Nothing too crazy, but so far 13.2.8 is doing pretty good. A lot of you guys concur with what I had said in my last video, which was that you're seeing regression points with 13.2.8 compared to 13.2.2. It is something that is a common theme, and I've noticed it as well. It's getting a little bit better. I did get an update to not FSD, but the suite on board for the car. So there's car updates, and then there's FSD updates. So I just went from the 2024 stack, I think it was, to a 2025 stack. A couple of you guys had also mentioned that you got the same update, and I think a lot of that, I didn't really dive deep into the notes, but I imagine a lot of it is map improvements, maybe some cabin improvements. So nothing to do with FSD, but I did get that update. So maybe some of the regression points that I was seeing with 13.2.8 will be improved with this car update, because maybe the maps are going to be a little bit better. I've had like weird problems with Tesla maps. I don't love relying on them as much. I think Google Maps is way better. Unfortunately, you can't use Google Maps with FSD yet. I don't know if that would be something that you could do. Probably not, for liability reasons maybe, but it's just not as reliable as Apple Maps or Google Maps. But we'll see what this update brings. I think so far it's been fine. I've still had these regression points, but nothing too crazy, except for if you haven't seen my last video, I had my car tried to go on a red light. Again, appreciate all the feedback on that as well. If you haven't checked it out, I'll link it up here in the top right corner. Not the first time that my car tried to go on red light in that intersection. I got a lot of perspectives from you guys. Some of you had mentioned that it is something that you deal with as well. I think one of you guys said that you had that same problem at that same light, maybe, meaning you're local to the area and you've had that same issue. One thing, if you watch the footage, my windshield was pretty much really fogged up because of the weather change. Inside of my cabin, it was 70 degrees. And then that night we had a 35, 36 degrees Fahrenheit temperature difference. So you have steam, and the front facing camera is obviously blocked by that as well. So, that was not that has nothing to do with this version update whatsoever. I think that was just related to an ongoing issue with that intersection. Again, I have no idea why that intersection is a problem. But if you haven't checked it out, go look at it. Let me know what you think. It's quite a scary situation. I hope that Tesla AI team recognizes that snippet, because I've replicated that issue a couple times and I've sent their audio messages back to their headquarters. If you don't know, you can submit audio messages at the time of a critical disengagement back to Tesla. All you got to do is click this microphone right here on the steering wheel, and you have about 30 seconds or so to record something and send it back to them so they can pre-process, analyze, and hopefully implement a fix for said issue. So, making a left turn here. Just approaching our second stop here in just a second, which I have programmed as Kohl's. Should be a pretty busy plaza and pretty busy parking lot here. In just a second, we're going to be coming up on the right side. And then we have 2 more audio messages to get to here. Again, if you want to submit an audio message, go to speakpipe.com/DET. It's totally free. I'll feature you in the next video, and it's a great way to sort of collaborate and ask questions and help current FSD users, new FSD users, and just brings in new perspectives as well. So with that being said, we'll move on to the third message here from Jonathan. So Jonathan, thank you for submitting this message.
I would like to see Tesla stop sandbagging on hardware 3, because it certainly has the capabilities to do full self-driving. I'm recognizing it now. I had an instance in my car yesterday where I saw the car back up when it exceeded the stop line and crossed. It moved into the crosswalk. The car backed up very slightly, but it backed up. So it definitely has that ability. Obviously, it has that ability when it's in summon mode. So I'm clean, Tesla.
Yeah, Jonathan, again, thank you for submitting that message. Hardware 3 to compare to Hardware 4. This is where I'm going to rely on some of my subscribers and my current viewers here to provide some feedback down below. So let's help out Jonathan to bring in some additional perspectives. What are you guys seeing with Hardware 3 vehicles out there? Anybody that owns a Hardware 3 vehicle, how is FSD responding for you guys? I know, Jonathan, you just mentioned that you observed your vehicle pull up to a stop sign a little bit too far past the white line, and it was able to autonomously reverse back into position. So let me know and let Jonathan know what you guys are seeing for those of you that are on Hardware 3 vehicles. I can't speak to that because obviously this is my first Tesla, and I'm in a Model 3 2024 Hardware 4, obviously. So I would love to hear others' perspective on it. I know for a while there was discussions, of not being able to support Hardware 3 vehicles for FSD. I don't know the clarity on that. So if you guys, again, for those of you that have Hardware 3 vehicles, what was that problem that I'm thinking of in terms of Tesla not being able to support it? There was a whole discussion being had where I think the Tesla team was basically saying like they would have to upgrade the system on your cars, is it? And if you bought it outright, that is. So if you subscribed, that doesn't apply to you. But if you bought the FSD package on a Hardware 3 vehicle, I think they were saying that they would have to go in and replace that hardware. So replace the processor, some infrastructure on board of your vehicles, and they would pay for it. So the Tesla team would pay for that. But if you're subscribed, I don't think that's going to be applicable to you on Hardware 3. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of, back and forth conversations going on with Hardware 3. The videos that I saw on YouTube from other channels that have Hardware 3 vehicles, it seems like they're doing pretty good. Is it 12.6.4? Is that the current update for you guys? Let me know and let Jonathan know if you're coming from a Hardware 3 vehicle, what your thoughts are on that. Make this full screen here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to hurry mode as well. So again, Jonathan, thank you for that message. Let's move on to Evan. Evan, thank you for taking the time to submit this for us.
Improve FSD with the ability to ask which lane to favor. For example, favor center lane when traveling, favor right lane when traveling, favor left lane when traveling. Personally, I like to favor the centers, so make FSD ask what lane you would like to favor. FSD appears to brake late, but it actually appears to be looking at the speed. What I would like to see improve would be a text message on screen that says brake lights activated, but car is not slowing down, or something to that effect. Do not pass trucks, large semi-trucks on the right.
Yeah, Evan, thanks again for taking the time to submit that. Couple great points there with the lane changes, especially. If you could favor a lane change and program into FSD which lane change you prefer, like you mentioned, either the right lane, center lane, left lane, instead of having quick lane changes and shifty movements, it would be cool to just be able to kind of provide that feedback to FSD and say, hey, I want to stay in the center lane, especially if you're going on a longer road trip or something like that, right? You want to be able to favor that type of lane preference if you could and pre-program that. What I will say, what's interesting is that one time I've had, my viewers had actually commented on this because I didn't notice this when I was driving and recording, but some of you guys had commented in a video a couple weeks ago. There was a car that was approaching the rear of my vehicle very close, and it was a one-lane road, two-lane road really, northbound, southbound. and the vehicle behind us was really, really close to us. And so when the road finally split into two, my Tesla switched lanes over to the right, let that vehicle pass by, and then shifted back over to the left lane. So I thought that was actually very interesting. That's very human-like behavior, in my opinion, where you're kind of shifting over to the right to allow for that vehicle to pass you, and then you assume your position again. So, you know, to be able to preference, to be able to set that preference of a lane change, I think is great. That's actually a very, very good idea. If anybody has thoughts on that as well, leave it down below in terms of the lane changes. You know, if you think that would be a good idea, or if you could think of maybe something that could potentially be a negative with that type of pre-programming. So, and then, yeah, like you mentioned with the braking, that's something I've noticed as well, especially with hurry mode. You get to the car in front of you pretty close. You stop with very minimal distance in the vehicle in front of you. And that's, again, by design. I think people are, since AI is being trained on human decisions and behavior, people do kind of get close to the vehicle in front of you at traffic lights, parking lots, whatever, right, when you're in a hurry mode. So making this left turn here in this plaza, very nicely done here. Slowed down with that oncoming traffic. I would have liked it to pull into this plaza a little bit quicker because we had oncoming traffic going 45, 55. So that would have been not a good deal. So, but yeah, definitely braking is something that I've noticed as well. Let me go ahead and edit this trip. I'm going to go ahead and click done to route us to our next stop here. Still complaining quickly. I mean, I just barely modified that trip, and it's still complaining to pay attention on the road pretty quick. I mean, I literally just took a second to modify that trip. I wish FSD provided us with a little bit more time to be able to interact with the system before it starts complaining. But pretty busy lot here. Making this right turn, letting this family walk by. Again, still in hurry mode, so I'm going to maintain hurry mode for the remainder of the route here. Moving forward nicely here. I don't know why it's going so slow. I mean, we're going 8 now, and it's picking up 25. I mean, this is just excessively slow. No idea why it's going this slow. I mean, this is excessively slow, I think, in my opinion. We're picking up speed at a snail pace here. I don't know what's going on. Weird behavior here in this lot. Approaching the stop sign here, we should be making a 0 mile per hour stop. There's that 0. Creeping up, nobody on our left. Going to be making an immediate left here at this light. If you enjoy this type of content too, guys, I really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It definitely helps me out. It helps me out a lot, helps the channel grow and bring awareness to other FSD enthusiasts. So if you enjoy this type of content, I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. It's very awesome to see the channel grow, and I'm really enjoying all the feedback, the comments, the suggestions, all the different perspectives that you guys are bringing as well. So I just want to take a second to thank all of you guys for, you know, tuning in, watching the videos, getting a lot of positive feedback. So for all my current viewers and subscribers and supporters, thank you. I really appreciate it. And again, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. It really does help me out, and I would appreciate it a lot. So we got the 4-way stop. Went through that very nicely, no problems there. Okay, creeping up here, very, very low visibility on the left side. Handled that very nicely. Lots of just very low visibility there on the left side throughout that stop, and it handled that very nicely. That's something that makes me nervous every single time. Even when I'm driving, you know, it's when you're coming out at a stop sign like that and there's very minimal visibility on the left side, if it's an unprotected turn, and you just can't see the full flow of traffic. Makes me nervous even if I'm in control of the vehicle, but especially if you're relying on FSD, you really, really want to be sure that it can see what it needs to see and make that decision correct, because that's a scary turn no matter who's driving. If you're driving, if you're a passenger, if you're under a passenger of FSD, doesn't matter. It's always really scary. So, I like that it kind of creeps up, and then once it finds that visibility point, it goes and commits. All right, we've got Tony up next who submitted an audio message. So thank you, Tony, for taking the time to provide your thoughts and providing the audio message. Let's listen into Tony.
Thanks so much for giving us the opportunity to share our thoughts. And thank you so much for your videos and for all of the testing you're doing and putting out there. As for 13.2.8, it's been a regression fest for me from 13.2.7 or 13.2.2. 13.2.2 had troubles in hurry mode, but otherwise was good. 13.2.7 was great in all modes. 13.2.8 has regressed in navigation, has regressed in tentativeness, in roundabouts, and overall sluggishness. It'll do hurry procedures, but not hurry doing them, if that makes sense, and has done 2 unprotected lefts where it pulled right out when there was right-hand traffic coming at high speed, and I had to disengage and hit the gas and take over steering in order to not get in a wreck. So overall, I'm bummed currently because I use FSD for very practical purposes, and it's not as practically useful for me on 13.2.8.
Tony, thank you again for taking the time to provide that message and to leave that voicemail here. I appreciate it, and thank you for the support for the channel. Yeah, I've definitely seen the regression points with 13.2.8. I actually skipped over 7, so 13.2.7 did not apply to me. I went from 13.2.2 to 13.2.8, and yeah, I've definitely seen the regression points you're talking about. I can also, it's funny, but I know exactly what you mean where you say it's you're in hurry mode, but it's not processing the movements in the hurry profile as you expect it to. I know exactly what you mean. I've seen it with my vehicle. And those unprotected left turns that you had just mentioned is very, very scary. I've seen videos of this happening in other channels. Thankfully, it hasn't happened to me yet. That might be because I don't have too many unprotected left turns in my area, but it is something that's very, very scary. I think the most common, I've personally seen it in other videos and documented on, are in Cybertrucks. So I know that's a big deal in Cybertrucks. I don't know exactly why that is, but I'm glad in your 2 scenarios you got out safe of that situation. I mean, that's definitely something that is critical and needs to be identified and implemented a fix for sure. That's not ideal that 13.2.8 is performing those types of decisions on unprotected left turns. That's a very, very critical situation. So again, thank you for the support on the channel. Thank you for taking the time to provide that feedback. All right, we got this Mercedes SUV trying to cut us off. Let's see what FSD does. Okay, handled that pretty nicely. We had the green arrow, but the Mercedes, their SUV, was in the far left lane and then tried to cut across all lanes to get onto the highway. FSD saw that and responded appropriately, in my opinion. It did a nice job being cautious, letting them go, even though they were incorrect in doing that. FSD pretty much accommodated for their poor decision and put us in a safer position and let them go. So that was nice. That was great to see. Making a lot of lane changes here on the highway. Again, we're in hurry mode, so I expect this type of behavior to occur with hurry mode, but it's doing a really good job at onboarding onto the highway. It's going all the way into the fast lane here. Lots of traffic built up here on the right side. So it did a really good job. I mean, pretty much cut across all lanes into the fast lane here and, negotiated with other drivers nicely. Here we go, though. It's making another lane change. So, I think this is what you guys were just saying, making another lane change here. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, well, I guess I spoke too soon. I think I might have jinxed myself because I see now what you guys are mean. I see what you guys mean now with these lane changes because, I mean, we went all the way to the left and now we're all the way back to the right. And, you know, by the time, I see exactly what you mean, because by the time we got to the highway, when we onboarded into the highway here, we only had about a mile down to go to get off the exit. So, I mean, it went all the way down to the left lane, cut across 6 lanes here, 5, 6 lanes. Then a minute later, maybe not even a minute later, now it's all the way back into the slow lane. So that makes no sense to me. And you know what? I wholeheartedly agree now. I mean, I can see what you mean. Maybe I never really. No, I must have paid attention. I don't think that's happened to me before, to be honest. I don't know. Here it has the blinker on again. I don't know why it has the blinker on, because we're in the lane. We're in the lane that it's supposed to be in. So why is it doing that? I don't know why it's doing that. Like, we should be going forward. There's like cars right behind me. And I guarantee you they're probably going to start honking at me here because we should be just going forward. I don't know why it's doing this right now. Okay, so it finally made this change, but I don't know why. I mean, this is a 3-way exit. So we could have maintained that lane just fine. Look at this. Wow, you know what? This is crazy to me. This is insane. Like, why is it doing this many lane changes? I literally think I just jinxed myself by saying that. I mean, this is just crazy. And again, I'm in hurry mode, but that's not an excuse. Like, there should be no reason for it to do that many abrupt changes so quickly. Completely unnecessary and very unsafe. Especially going all the way to the fast lane, then all the way back to the right lane. I mean, this is just crazy. This is ridiculous. Especially just now where we were slowing down. We were going 20 miles per hour, nobody in front of us, just because it wanted to cut into the left lane. And then obviously it made its way back into this lane. So that was completely unnecessary what we just saw there about a minute ago. A lot of traffic here on this exit ramp. FSD has its blinker turned on to the left side. Oof. Man, it wanted to cut into that small space between the truck and the little sedan here. I'm really glad it didn't do that. I would have definitely had to disengage if it tried. Like, if you see this, it's trying to cut through. If you think about what's going on right now, it has more than enough room to go forward. Like, I don't know why it's trying to, and this truck is not letting us by. So there's a truck on the left side. It's not letting us cut in front of them. I'm not going to intervene. Okay, now the truck slowed down. And now let us cut in front here. And now it's making another lane change over to the left. It's just not putting us in good positions here. It's not making the right decisions, I don't think. It's not being very courteous of other drivers, and it's just not being very safe either. Too jerky. I don't think that was good. I don't like that experience very much. All right, guys, so I just pulled into a lot here. Again, I appreciate all the support and the comments that I'm getting from you guys. I want to highlight some of them that I thought were really interesting, some funny, and some good points on Tesla's FSD. So CJDOV8909 says, I too agree 13.2.2 is better than 13.2.8 on local roads. I don't see any difference on the highways. My biggest grip with FSD is not having the ability to record a travel route and then save it and then call it back from favorites. Something along the lines of recording a macro with Excel, then recalling the macro. Yeah, that would be cool, because I know a lot of routes that Tesla, prefers, the Tesla map prefers, are not always optimal. It's a lot of times not the right route. Sometimes it takes the wrong exit for me. And I could see this being beneficial if you're commuting from home to work, work to home, 4 or 5 days a week, what have you, if you want a certain route. I know a lot of you guys said sometimes Tesla maps, they kind of favor a route that doesn't make sense to get back home. So if you can favor a route, I mean, that would be awesome. That would be really, really great. And I think that's a really great idea. So thank you for that comment. Got another one from ED Hill 8568. He says, thanks for the video. As an FSD user for almost 60,000 miles, I found 13.2.8 to be overall smoothest FSD for me, but I also agree with you that from time to time it can be a bit hesitant. Did a drive into downtown Boston yesterday in rush hour, and the lane selection was surprisingly perfect, and the lane changes were excellent. Best drive ever on FSD. The only problem I have is a very complex light-controlled roundabout with 4 to 6 lanes. Yep. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know how downtown Boston was for you. Let me know, let me know down below if you're watching this video on, the details of that drive. Sounds like it went pretty well. But for me, downtown areas have not really been all that great. I think there's a lot of dynamics, construction, like it does the job, but it's not as smooth, which I guess is pretty natural. I mean, that's normal to be expected, right? There's so many different obstacles. But I imagine that downtown Boston compared to, let's say, closest downtown environment that I have is downtown Columbus, Ohio. We're talking two different beasts, right? Boston's probably on a whole nother level in terms of traffic, environment variables, construction, pedestrians, cyclists. So yeah, let me know down below. But I'm really glad to hear that 1328 is going good for you as well. Especially it sounds like you did it in rush hour. So thanks for the comment. Barbash 4, I want FSD to avoid potholes and sewer covers. Yeah, that's a huge one. That's a huge request that I'm getting from a lot of people in the comments, and myself included. It would be really great to have FSD avoid potholes. I had it avoid a dip in the road, like a sewer type situation once, and it never happened again. But for that one time, I was very, very pleasantly surprised, and I was actually like excited that that was finally solved. But clearly, that was just a one-off edge case scenario, which kind of weird if you think about it. It happened once only, never again. So I don't know what that means, but that would be really cool. FSD PNW. So FSD 1322 was pretty good, except it was awful if you ran it in hurry mode, as it would make incredibly unsafe decisions to try and make it to exit ramps or turns when it was out of position in the wrong lane, and only knew to accelerate to try and get over around cars that were next to it instead of sometimes backing off to get over. Yeah, and that's why I'm favoring hurry mode in 1328 more than I was in 1322. It's doing really great job for me. The decisions that it's making in hurry mode is great, except for what we just saw. Those lane changes were absolutely terrible. I mean, unsafe, unnecessary, and inconvenient for myself and other drivers on the road. So yeah, that was definitely not the best, but definitely good perspective there. Mason Lynn D9X says, I like your video. FSD technology is fantastic and incredible. Take care when you're driving. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. FSD PNW, this one was kind of hilarious, so I wanted to highlight this one. I renamed my car from Maximus Drivamus to Dummius Drivamus in honor of 1328's regression. So I thought that was kind of a funny way to put some of the regression points that we're seeing. But again, guys, thank you for tuning into today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to leave me an audio message, go to speakpipe.com/DET. I'll have the link below. Again, totally free. You could stay anonymous. You don't need to put your name in. You don't need to register for an account. You don't need anything. Just record up to a 90-second clip, and then I'll feature you in the next video. And again, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a lot. I appreciate all the continuous support, comments, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I will catch you guys in the next one.